Amanda's Bookish Adventures. It is day 20 of Bookmas, and this was supposed to be a vlog, but I have not read. I'm kind of in a slump. But today I had to come up with it real quick. So we're going to talk about some book tropes. So I have a couple fantasy tropes, one that I have read, some that I haven't, some romance tropes, and tropes that I don't like. So the Chosen One trope, I'm really enjoying in fantasy. I have read it in Keeper of the Lost Cities, even though that's middle grade, it's still fantasy, and I'm really enjoying it. I read it for the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I loved the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and there was a third one I was gonna say. And Percy Jackson, loved that. I'm excited to see some of the Chosen Ones. I want to read more in adult. I basically middle grade and a YA, but I'd like to find one in an adult and see how I feel about it in an adult fantasy. So here are some tropes that I haven't really read in fantasy yet. The Evil Overlord and the Reluctant Hero. I think I have read one a couple years ago with the Overlord, or like something with a big bad villain. I'd like to get in that. And the Reluctant Hero, I think there are some out that I do want to read, so I definitely want to read those. One that I don't know, if I can't say if I don't like or if I hate. It just depends on how it does. The Redeemable Villain. I've only read a couple books that has a redeemable villain, but I don't know. It just really depends on how it takes, and some of them aren't so good. Sometimes I just want the villain to be the villain. So we'll see as I go through next year's reading, especially because I'm trying to read more adult fantasy, where it goes next year, because I would really absolutely kind of be unique to see. I don't know why my hair is so bad. Where we go. Oh, it's probably because my hair is parted the wrong way and I messed it. Oh well, we'll just leave it this way or it'll drive me nuts. So I have a couple of romance tropes that I really like. I like Stuck Together, but I like the Stuck Together in the vacation, like the unhoneymooners, like they were stuck together because of the vacation, or like a cabin or stuff like that. I do think those are kind of cute. One of my favorite is enemies to lovers, or hate to love, or whatever the trope is, but I do love enemies to lovers. It's one of my favorite really tropes, especially in dark romances. I love the forbidden love, like we're not meant to be together. The Romeo and Juliet style, but with a happy ending, or at least, yeah, most of them romance novels tend to have happy endings, sort of. But it really depends. The forbidden love I love, but I don't like it if it's cheesy, because sometimes it gets like really cheesy. And I think I love romance books, but some of them are really cheesy. Another one I love is second chance romance. I love second chance to see like if for a second chance romance, I want it to be like the whole book, like you have scenes from the past and then we get the present, or at least them talking about, because if they don't talk about where they were in the second chance romance, I find that boring. If it's second chance romance, we need to find out why they broke up, how they're getting back together, and stuff like that. Especially with the chemistry, they turn out to be really good. But yeah, I don't want it to be boring. I want the whole story with the second chance romance. And I love me some good slow burn. There's a book that I have off of Libby called Written and Read, and I heard the first one, a couple of people say the first one's not really good. I haven't read it yet, but they say the rest of the series, because it's a slow burn, the first one's more like building the world. But I'm really curious to see how I would feel about that. It could be really good, the world development, my taste, but I love a good slow burn, especially if the character is in a long series, because I don't read a lot of romance characters that have a recurring character, which I'm going to try next year to change and read a couple that has a recurring character. But if I'm going to do that, I want slow burn. I want it to be really good. If it's fantasy series, I want them to be with the best person. Okay, and these are some tropes I don't like. I don't like cheating. I absolutely hate the cheating. There's no point, because there's a couple books out that I do want to read, but it does involve cheating, and Cheating is disgusting to me. It's not something I want in books. I don't care if the main character gets cheated on and then you get like a different story from that, but I don't want the main character and the love interest to be cheating to be together. I don't like that trope. It's just not something I want in a romance book. It's not, it's just not for me. I don't like insta love. Okay, sometimes I really do. It just depends on how the situation is set. But most insta loves are really cheesy, and I'm not for that. Okay, so this is not that I don't like it. It just really depends on how the book is written. Love triangles. Sometimes I root for the characters they don't get with, or the development, or it's cheesy, or it's too angsty. If we're gonna do a love triangle, I want it to be good. I don't want it to be so angst or like teenage love. I can understand a love triangle in adult fantasy or whatever, but I don't want it to be angsty. I could be angsty, but I don't want the teenage drama with a love triangle. That's what it is. I don't want the teenage drama with a love triangle. Now, another one, it's not that I hate it. It's the pregnancy trope. I don't mind the pregnancy trope. But I actually kind of prefer the kid trope where like they left a bad relationship and they're starting over and the new guy comes in and he's taking care of I like the starting, I don't know if it's like a kid trope, the starting over trope with the kid. And even if you're starting over with pregnancy, I don't mind. I do read some Harlequin romances, and a lot of them are, I kept this baby hidden, and they're like, most of them are like 200 pages or even just 190. I just don't really like that. If you're gonna keep the hid, it's just, if that, I would prefer it to be a longer book. I don't know. It's the hidden pregnancy. I don't mind it. It just really depends how it's done and the situations it's done in. It is not my favorite, but I do try to give it a chance. But also, I don't know, there's a lot of like world building tropes like in history, European stuff. I do like those. I like when they build the world because I like the world building trope. I looked this thing up and it was like the medieval trope for the world building. I like the world building in fantasies. I think if you could do really good on your world building, but I think someone said it's about, I can't even remember where most of the book, like it could have been like 300 pages less, where they talked about the character walking scenery to get there. And I'm like, okay, the quest trope or the scenery, where's a good balance for that trope? Like you're going on a quest, you have to talk about the scenery. It's just a balance, and sometimes authors struggle with it. And I'm not saying there has been amazing authors who could world build and do that quest trope. Amazing. But it was like the person said, it's like a filler chapter. If it was like 200, I haven't read the book yet, and I don't even want to mention it because I don't want anyone to be spoiled. But, okay, that's driving me nuts. I would honestly probably be bored at that point, and if it's a series that I would love to read, it would probably be like the lowest rated book in that series. If all we read for like 200 to 300 pages is the character walking. I do like the quest trope. Like, oh, we have to do this to get to the thing. I do think it's a good trope. But it's a balance on how it's done, I think. I don't know if there's any other tropes that I'm missing. I don't know. Oh, I do like the anti-hero. I like the anti-hero. There's only a couple books that has it, but I do like the anti-hero trope. I would like more. The hero, I like the darker side of, I'm going to do what I want. Sometimes I could be a hero. I think it's funny, like Deadpool, the first one. I do like the second one. Don't hate me, but it's not my favorite. I like the anti-hero, especially if it's good. Like, yes, they can do heroic deeds, but they're going to go mess stuff up too. That if I'm going to read it, I want to read it good. I don't want it to be an anti-hero and then suddenly at the end of the series or book, I'm the hero that led through the ages or something. No. Let the person be an anti-hero. that's all. It's probably all I think I have to talk about. What are tropes that you guys like? Tropes that you can't stand? Please let me know. I would be very interested in hearing. Well, that is it for day 20 of Bookmas, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.